Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and it's time for your Raw review. So, this Raw follows a decent enough SummerSlam. Not a bad show at all. You had a great main event. Certain things are a little bit so. Certain fans are overrating certain things on the show. Um, you know, such as like the Dean and Seth match was great, but people are making like it was a classic. Not exactly better than expected, but this is what happens when you starve people for a good show. SummerSlam would not be considered great unless it had that amazing main event that it had. That's what really saved the show. The big men, the ones that everybody likes to bash here in the YWC. It was proof that the big men reign supreme. WWE, without their big men, they would go completely out of business or they would become a cheap, lousy indie fed. So we started off the show with what else? Paul Heyman doing the same old shtick. How many times is this guy going to come out there with Brock? We're going to have, you look at your TV, Brock standing on the left hand side, Heyman standing on the right hand side. I've never heard this before where saying the wrestler's name is the catchphrase, basically. Comes out there every single time. My name is Paul Heyman. This is the Beast. Brock Lesnar. Every single time. It's the same shtick. And it's funny because the marks don't seem to get tired of it. I don't understand what it is exactly. The marks hate big men, but they give Brock Lesnar a pass. Surprisingly, they give Braun Strowman a pass. It just shows that marks, these hardcore fans, are just completely mental because they like they have different types of rules. You're allowed to like this set of wrestlers, but you're not allowed to like this set. It doesn't make any fucking sense. They're all a bunch of bozos. But you talk to anybody in the YWC, and they'll tell you every single promo Paul Heyman ever cut was great. Yeah, back when Heyman was there years ago, he was cutting great promos. When he was at One Night Stand, when he was the commentator during 2001 during the Invasion angle, he was great, and he was doing some great things on the mic and on commentary. But now he's just repeating himself week after week after week. It was like when Lesnar beat The Undertaker. When he beat The Undertaker, at WrestleMania 30. How many times did this guy keep repeating himself week after week? And it was a heat tactic, but it was getting tiresome already because when you got right down to the nitty gritty, the man was just repeating himself like a fucking maniac. And when you step back from it and you erase like, oh, there's a purpose behind this, you realize it's fucking annoying. Would you sit down for a TV show if they kept repeating the same scenes over and over? Unless it's a repeat, probably not. Like, the same episode that they showed weeks ago. But this is actually live TV, and they're telling Heyman to go out there and do the same shtick. There are segments like on SNL or Mad TV where you would have the same characters, reoccurring, but they wouldn't be in the same situation. This is, just all you can do is just switch around the names of Brock's current opponent. And it's the same promo you've been hearing for fucking months, even years. When are they going to tell Heyman enough is enough already? You keep saying the same shit. Are they telling him to say the same shit? He claims that they're not. But why would such a talented promo guy like Heyman relegate himself to repeating himself like a fucking broken record? So Strowman comes out. He beats on Brock, which was good. You really got a sense that, Strowman means business. And this is a match that I have a lot of interest in seeing. See, this is what I'm talking about. You care about this match because they built Strowman strong. They've had, Lesnar have a good, they did have a sheer amount of Lesnar getting punked out way too many times, running away from the big show and all this bullshit, but at least he holds on to his title for a long time. So this will probably happen at Survivor Series, I would guess. And it's, it seems to be like it's going to be a pretty good match. If the Fatal 4-Way was any indication, Strowman is really on his game. For a guy his size, you would think that he'd be the slow, lumbering big man, but that's not the case. The guy has a look, he has a personality, he has a presence about him, and he's proven to be a good worker. These points have all been proven. Even the marks are admitting that Strowman is amazing. And all they were doing was attacking the man the first time he came in. Oh, he's not an indie guy. He hasn't spent time in ROH or TNA. And lo and behold, this guy is doing way more for this company and getting more interest in the company, which, is not that much at all. But, whatever it is, he's one of the few interesting things on the show. Done more than Samoa Joe, done more than fuckboy Balor, than bitch boy cab driver Sami Zayn. You see that, you guys like to knock the big men, but how is it that the big man seems to be the most exciting thing to the point where you're even admitting that he is? Enzo Amore and Big Cass had a street fight, and sadly it seems like Big Cass is now injured. Unless, it was a really good sell job and good acting. Big Cass was pissed off. He was like you could see like he wanted to drop 100 F-bombs. He missed a kick over the top rope. Enzo had ducked out of the way. And, Cass went tumbling to the outside. It looked like he injured his knee or a part of his leg. So, sadly, now it seems like he might be seriously injured, and that means his push is going to be put on hold. Once again, there are way too many fucking injuries like this happening, and it's not just a matter of it being, an act of God even. It's that they're not being careful. And I have praised both these guys. You can't debate that with me. It's not like I'm knocking these guys saying they don't know how to work, but they need to sit these guys down and tell them to take it easy, because every single year we have basically a handful of major injuries, guys getting sidelined. This looked almost like the Zack Ryder injury, for example. He got injured the same way by like smacking his knee on the apron. It was the same deal, basically. So Big Cass, Enzo won because, they had to stop the match. So this is pretty sad. I don't know what they're going to do with Enzo. Okay, on a more positive note, I want to talk about this. So I looked up Enzo's height. They keep saying he's a little guy, Enzo. He's a little guy. He's 5'11". Who else is 5'11"? Take a look at fuckboy Balor. Just out of curiosity, how tall is he? 5'11". Huh. So, here's the thing. They're making like Enzo is this poor, defenseless little guy, and Balor's this unstoppable demon, crusher motherfucker, who could beat somebody like Bray Wyatt. You've got to be fucking joking me already. How long are we supposed to believe this charade that they put forth, that Balor is like not a small guy? These guys are the same height, the same weight, and almost the same build. Maybe Balor has slightly better abs. Okay, he has a lot better abs. Talk to Wade Keller. Talk to Meltzer Magoo. I'm sure he'll lend you 2 hours where he'll just praise Balor's body. So, there you go. I wonder if this is what gets Magoo off. Does he just watch countless hours of Balor matches because the guy seems like he's quite enamored by him. Same thing goes for the motherfucker Wade Keller. Can't stop talking about the guy. Nia Jax defeated Emma. Um, you know, didn't we see this match like 2 weeks ago? Here we are again. Her crushing people. Here's the thing. Why is she not dominant? How come every single time, they give her these squash matches? Oh, we got to make up for it. We're going to build up Nia again. She's just going to have another match and lose. I don't understand what the point is of having monsters like this around if they're not allowed to be monstrous. By the way, why the fuck? This is what I didn't mention in the opening segment. Corey Graves thinks he has a real winner with that monster handle things. Like he says, oh, he didn't get manhandle, he got monster handle. They're trying to make this guy like the replacement for Jerry the King Lawler when it comes to witty color comments, and he's failing big time. The marks love him because, he's a former wrestler. And the thing is, he might have an interesting look to him, but his commentary is just plain fucking cornballish most of the time. He got monster handle. Okay, Corey, that's not a real word. And he thinks he's so clever, and nobody likes to call him out on this. It's funny when Booker makes a funny comment. Michael Cole and Corey jump on Booker T. Wade Keller and Magoo jump on Booker T. Oh, this guy's not making any sense, even though he's the most and only entertaining commentator in the whole WWE. Do you realize that none of the commentators, slightly a little bit JBL, but the guy has lost his edge? The most entertaining person by far on commentary has been Booker T. What a treat it has been. Thank God they didn't go with David Otunga on Raw. They put that guy on the shelf and put Booker T back out there. Because could you imagine how boring Raw would be without Booker T on commentary? They jump on Booker T, but nobody gets on Graves for his retarded-ass comments that he makes. He's lame, for a show that's supposed to be hip. He sounds like a total fucking loser, like a fucking nerd with those comments. Elias Sampson defeated R-Truth. We're watching this match again for whatever reason. I'm not understanding why are there repeats. We already saw this match. We're seeing it again. And where was Goldust? Goldust was supposed to find, his next, person, who he would mentor. Remember, he cut that promo at SummerSlam? Well, where was it? Once again, another storyline that goes astray. There is nobody, that Goldust expressed his interest for. He wasn't even on the show tonight. Aside from, auditioning to be Colonel fucking Sanders on the pre-show, Goldust, was that what he was talking about? That wasn't mentoring somebody to the top. Anyway, we've seen this match again. Then up next, we finally got something good. Big John returning to Raw. What a beautiful fucking thing. And now SmackDown will collapse without Cena. Guaranteed that show is fucking history. They don't have enough big stars on that show. Besides Mahal, Nakamurphy is not enough. They're not, seeing AJ and Owens for the 70th time is not going to be enough. End the fucking brand split already. Cena's back on Raw. The fans, giving him another obnoxious, reception. This guy has, if all you guys care about are 5-star matches, Cena has done more with AJ Styles and Owens, giving you those 5-star wrestling matches that you so desire. More than probably anybody else, but yet, they boo Cena. Enough is enough already. I woke up a long time ago that, yes, maybe Cena's character might be a bit outdated, but they've mostly done away with most of the more cheesy parts of his character. Now you could just feel, once you have guys like Balor at the top at one point, and Rollins and Ambrose, you can clearly see why a big star like Cena is needed. He says he's here to confront the wrestler. Reigns assumes it's him. He comes out. They go face to face. They're about to come to blows. The Miz interrupts. The Miz starts cutting a promo. Cena says, you could be in the main event. You could choose either, Curtis Axel or Bo Dallas. Joe comes out. He says that if he's going to have a tag partner, it's going to be him. Lots of charisma. Joe just coming out there and being, still speaking in the same screamy, monotone voice. And once again, Wade Keller in his Raw review. This guy never ceases to amaze me, or never ceases really to just make me shake my head in disgust. He basically bashed, oh, they're getting booed and stuff. And Joe looked like a badass. What show is this guy watching? Just because you're in love with fuckboy Balor and Joe doesn't mean you can come on your column. Well, you can do what you want. It's your column. But if you want to be taken seriously and you want to be considered a journalist, perhaps you should maybe try a little something called objectivity. I've said this for weeks already, cutting rants on this guy. If you want to be taken seriously, you can't fawn over Joe and Balor in every single one of your stupid little columns and reviews. Because people are going to look at you and they're just going to assume that something is very gay about you. Let's be perfectly honest here. Every single week, Raw comes on or SmackDown comes on and your favorites come out. You're like all over them. You're like a teenage girl watching Dawson's Creek, for fuck's sakes, back in the 90s. You're all at Twitter. You're just like, you have butterflies in your stomach every single time you see this guy Joe. I don't know, you have an affection for BBWs or something, or BBMs, big, beautiful men. I thought you said you don't like big men. You have a problem with big, muscular men, so I guess that's why you like the fat version of them. So, here's the thing about Samoa Joe. You look at these guys, and once again, it was the same situation. The same situation as it was last night, the previous night at SummerSlam, on Sunday night. You had Strowman, Reigns, Brock, Lesnar, and then you had Samoa Joe. And Joe just looked out of place. And once again, it was the same story here. You're seeing John Cena, Roman Reigns, The Miz. Even Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas look more like stars than fucking fat-ass Samoa Joe. Everybody in the ring is in shape, looks like $1 million, and Samoa Joe just comes out there with his flabby Samoan titties, and he just doesn't look the part. Now, Joe knows how to cut a promo, and he knows how to wrestle a match, but he only knows how to do the same shit over and over again. It's the same promo. It's the same promos we've been hearing since ROH. I'm gonna kill you. He used to actually tell wrestlers he was going to murder them, which is just so stupid. It's a fake form of entertainment, a predetermined form of entertainment, and he's telling people he's going to kill them in the ring. So you really got to see who were the true stars once again here. Then we had a Cruiserweight tag. And I'm just like, I don't even know half these guys. I've seen them one time or another. Tony Nese, Rich Swann, the dude with the fucking mohawk. I don't even care. There was a cool finisher with the backbreaker. I've seen it before, But, if they want people to care about these cruiserweights, throwing fucking 8 guys out there for 4 or 5 minutes is not the way to get anybody over. And at the end of the match, even with a sea full of marks, you didn't have a single reaction from them. What does that tell you? Then you had Neville backstage cutting a promo. He got his belt back. Why they had him lose it in the first place is beyond me. He looks scared shitless as Titus O'Neil comes on. You know, here's the thing. Wasn't Neville wrestling John Cena just a year ago, you know, for the U.S. title? And now he's suddenly so scared of Titus O'Neil. Titus might be a little bit bigger than Cena, but for fuck's sakes, he looks fucking terrified. Tozawa should be scared of Neville. Look at the motherfucker. Look how Neville looks, and then look how Tozawa looks. Yeah, you've had these cruiserweight fanboys, you know, coming at me. And here's the thing. You know, if your fanboys and your fellow marks are so much for these cruiserweights, why did nobody react during the 8-man tag? Answer me that. So, you have this backstage, and, you know, once again, Tozawa, at least he, you know, here's the thing, Tozawa knows how to speak better English than Nakamurphy, for fuck's sakes. But he's invoking his rematch clause, not tonight, but on 205 Live to show that no one cares about. So that makes a lot of sense as well. The Hardys came out. They joined in the celebration between Rollins and Ambrose. They wanted to get involved. It was some weird like 4-way like incest and like best friend make out session. It was kind of weird, but but there was more broken hints dropped. That Matt was laughing, which is just weird because if you've never watched TNA and Matt is just like suddenly wide-eyed and laughing, then he goes back to just talking normal. It just makes the guy look bipolar, and that's not even a character they're trying to push. He's just like throwing out little hints there, just throwing a bone, so to speak, to the marks. And I enjoy it too. I smile every time he goes delightful or beautiful, But the thing is, either fully commit to the broken gimmick, risk the lawsuit or whatever, pay TNA whatever you gotta pay them, pay Jarrett whatever you gotta pay him to be able to use this fucking gimmick already. Because I'm getting tired of the hints being dropped already. It's almost like I wish they would just either not do it at all or just do it. It's one or the other. You can't have somebody halfway, because they've been half-assing the Hardys ever since Mania. And they go on to have a match. It was an okay match for what it was. The Hardys lose again. How many times is the Hardys going to lose? And another thing, I actually agreed with Wade Keller. Since they've come to WWE, they've been talking about revolutionizing the industry for 25 years, for a quarter of a century. And that sounds a lot longer. They came to WWE like roughly 98, 99 developmental. They didn't really get onto the main roster until 99. Stretching it out, that far to 25 years, even if you're including their Omega days, with their own promotion when they were teenagers, it just is a bit much, and I agree. It makes them sound fucking old. It makes them sound like they're about to hang up the boots. And the thing is, what worries me is they're going the same way with them as they went with the Dudleys. They're a bit more, present than the Dudleys were, but even still, like, they're jobbing them out constantly. Did they really need to lose here? I know they did this for the Brooklyn crowd to excite the marks, but did we really need to see the Hardys lose again? We just heard how much of legends they are, and then they just lose clean like that. I failed to see the reason here. The Hardys should be doing so much more, but once again, they feel like just another tag team on the roster. And that shouldn't be, and I was about to move on to the next match, but that shouldn't be the case. They're not just another tag team. They already said They've been doing this gig for 2 decades. Everybody knows their name. I have a friend, and I'm not even joking for the sake of this video. It's in actuality. She doesn't watch wrestling anymore. But her and her husband, they walk down the aisle to the Hardy Boyz theme. That is how over the. I know that's just one person, but back in the year 2000, and when wrestling was like huge, the Hardys hit it big. Everybody was like into the Hardys. They loved the shtick they were doing, Team Extreme with Lita. They didn't even have to say a whole lot. Matt wasn't even laughing like a maniac. Nobody was broken, and nobody would be broken for for like another 16 years, basically. But the thing is, it's like they were over big time. And you asked anybody about the Hardys, and chances are, 75% of the time, people would know who you were talking about. So we'll move on, though. Alexa Bliss and Sasha had a little segment. Sasha wanted Bliss to cash in her rematch clause. She didn't want to do it. She'd do it next week. Okay, then, So, guess next week, then. Same thing. We never get any title matches on the spot. It's always, on my time. Yeah, all right. Fuckboy Balor beat Jason Jordan. So they pushed this guy, Jason Jordan. And people are saying he's not ready. Big Vito was telling Vince Russo he doesn't think he's ready. Keller is having a hard time admitting if he's ready or not. I think Magoo doesn't think he's ready. It doesn't matter. He looks good in the ring. He's got a good look. He has he does look like a star. And he definitely has a way better physique than Balor. But he lost here. He goes into Angle's office. He demands his daddy give him the match against fuckboy Balor. And what happens? He loses clean to him with the stomp. Again with the little boy stomp. Hopping around like a fucking child. And the thing is, it really is, it's like what Big Vito said on Russo's podcast. That does not look like a viable finisher. I've been saying it for 2 years now. It does not look like a good finisher. He stomps off the top rope. Yes, it might hurt if somebody doesn't get their hands up in time to block part of his feet. But for fuck's sakes, it just looks stupid. That move's been around for years, but I never liked that stomp. It just looks sloppy and after he falls on his ass, it's not like as graceful as like a frog splash or an elbow. Because right after the stomp, you fall down. There's no way of keeping your balance after that impact. So Jordan is losing now for whatever reason. I think they lost on the pre-show, him and the Hardys. Once again, the Hardys lost again the night before, and they're losing again. Everybody is losing. Again, Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's not on the show at all. Where was Bray Wyatt, by the way? Not a single mention of him. Was Bray there? No, he wasn't. So he loses to this little piece of shit, fuckboy Balor, and he just disappears. So then you had the main event. Cena and Reigns defeating Miz and Joe. And the Miz said in his opening, in the mid-show promo, whatever the hell you want to call it, at the top of the second hour, where is his moment? This was a guy that walked down to the ring, at WrestleMania 27 to face Cena. He was the main event match, and he looked the part, he sounded the part, he was the part. But they did everything in their power to overshadow that main event. Put The Rock out there. I wasn't complaining at the time. It was a shitty WrestleMania, but I wasn't really complaining at the time. And they never recaptured that same spot. Ever since then, it's been Miz winning the Intercontinental title every couple of months. to the point now where he's like an 8-time champion in the span of a couple of years. So, it was nice to see Cena back on Raw getting the victory alongside Reigns. But, you'll have The Miz once again losing. Like, why can't The Miz be a big star? You have certain fans that complain about The Miz. They don't like him. The thing is, he's a good heel. He's got heat. And you can't tell me every time he gets on the mic and you see that face of his and you hear that voice, you can't tell me that you don't think he's a star. I just have a problem with him, like, losing here. They're not doing enough with the guy. He just seems caught up in an endless cycle. It's like the same thing with the Ambrose cycle. Losing consistently, and then coming back and winning a different title. Loses the world title. Loses the Intercontinental title. Now he wins the tag title. But Miz is like all over the place. First losing the world title and then winning an infinite amount of Intercontinental titles. When's it going to end already? Are they ever going, like, why can't The Miz stand next to Cena and be a star as well? I don't get it. If Balor could come out there and beat Wyatt and beat Jason Jordan, who's supposed to be Angle's son, this guy that they're pushing, why can't Miz come out there and be a star? See, it should have been Miz beating Cena those times, not Owens, not Nakamurphy. It should have been the guys that actually had charisma, the guys who could actually wear a world title and you would believe them. Nobody believed the Owens reign, and nobody would believe a Nakamurphy reign either. So there you go, motherfuckers. There's your Raw review. It was, an okay show. They opened it well. I enjoyed the Cena and Reigns stuff, and it was good to see Cena and Reigns together. And I definitely want to see that match. That is definitely. I know the marks are. Oh, I don't want to see that match. I hate them both. But you know how charismatic and how much of an old school feel that match has. That's like what you call a big match. Like, people look at that and you see two guys that look like titans. They look like stars. That's a main event right there. Not, Balor and Seth Rollins or Balor and Sami Zayn. Once again, I gotta say, they've already tried it and it doesn't work. Nobody likes the Balors in the main event. It doesn't work out. And you could see the difference from last year's SummerSlam to this year's SummerSlam. Even the marks are admitting it is better. Even though that last year's SummerSlam had Balor in the main event winning against Rollins and winning the title, having his big moment, you still see more people praising the big man main event match. And it's like no contest, by the way. So there you go, guys. There's your Raw review. This is your YWC champ. Belts upside down again. Signing out.